Yo, what is going on, guys? So welcome back to another Black Ops Cold War video. So for this video, I'm going to be going over which shotgun in Black Ops Cold War is the most overpowered shotgun, and really just overall the best to use in most situations. Now, currently there is two shotguns in Black Ops Cold War, the first being the Hauer 77, which is a pump shotgun, also referred to as the trench gun in the past. And then we also have the Gallo SA-12, which is also referred to as the SPAS-12 in the past, which is a semi-automatic shotgun. Now, diving into the Hauer 77, there is a couple strong points as well as weak points that I want to cover, as well as a couple attachments that you're absolutely going to need to be able to rock this gun correctly. Now, I don't want to judge a book by its cover, so this comparison is going to be based on the Gallo and the Hauer being fully maxed out. It wouldn't make much sense for me to give you guys an opinion based on these weapons being at level 1. Now, moving into the Hauer 77's attachments, you are going to need to get the last two barrels for this shotgun. One is going to give you extra damage range, and the other is going to give you damage. Now, the only thing I think that this gun really lacks on is either the damage or the range. So a lot of the time, whether somebody's mid-range or really close up in person, you might have to hit them 2 times if you don't hit them in the chest or up and they're not in COVID distance. And it can get really frustrating when you're hitting people one time and then you try to hit them that second time and they body you before you can get that second shot off. So I would say it's super important to unlock that damage or the effective range barrels just so that you can be more guaranteed for that one shot. Now, the only other attachment you're going to need for the Hauer is the 8-round tube. It does come standard with a 5-round tube, but if we take the rule of thumb, 1.5 to 2 shots per person that we kill, that's only going to get you about 3 or 4 bodies on a 5-round tube. So I do recommend running the 8-round tube just to lock yourself in for more kills. Now, granted, the Hauer does reload a tad bit quicker than the SPAS-12, but we can't deny the fact that it holds less ammo. Now, moving on, there is one more attachment I want to talk about, which is the no stock. If you are like me, I do like to be as mobile as possible, especially when I'm playing close quarters maps like Nuketown. The no stock does increase your sprint to fire time as well as your overall mobility, so it is highly recommended, like I said, when playing these close quarters maps. Now, moving on to the disadvantages of the Hauer 77, I do believe that there is only 2. The first being the biggest, which is the huge disadvantage in fighting multiple enemies. Now, this is a pump shotgun, which means you have to shoot the shotgun, then pump it every time you shoot it, which can make it super inconvenient when fighting 2, 3, and maybe even 4 enemies. Now, let's say 3 enemies were approaching you and you managed to shoot and kill the first one. Chances are the second or third enemy would have you killed before you got that second or third pump off. Now, while fighting multiple enemies with the Hauer is already frustrating enough, this brings me to my second disadvantage, which is the possibility for a 2-tap. Now, as I mentioned before, with the right attachments close quarters, you can manage to 1-tap your opponents, but it is almost impossible to always be close quarters or in buildings. So this really can be frustrating when you move into these mid-range battles and you start noticing your Hauer taking 2 shots instead of 1. This can really take you off of your streaks, and it's really annoying when you run into a decently sweaty player that can just manage to get you before you get that second shot off. So to sum things up for the Hauer 77, I do believe it is the more fun shotgun to use. I would only recommend it on close quarters maps like Nuketown. I wouldn't recommend it on maps like Miami or Satellite where there's tons of head glitches, which is prone to take you off your streaks. It is a super balanced gun. I don't think it's going to need a nerf anytime soon. If anything, it may need a small buff to the damage range, but besides that, I do recommend the shotgun. It's a super fun shotgun to use. Now, moving on to the Gallo SA-12, this shotgun has also been referred to as the SPAS-12 and has been seen in tons of Call of Duty titles. One of the biggest differences, which is absolutely a game changer, is that this one is a semi-automatic, meaning that every time you pull the trigger, you're going to be able to shoot this guy. Now, moving into the attachments, I do want to talk about the barrels only because they are so crucial, I feel like, in using this gun. There's such a wide variety that it's really hard to make a decision on which one's the best, but I think you really should base it on your play style and the maps that you're playing. Now, there is 2 barrels I guess I will recommend, the first being the last barrel you unlock, which is the damage barrel. It does give you the possibility of 1-tapping your enemies at close range, but you have to be super close to them. And I do think it comes with a drawback, which is the loss of the benefit of effective damage range, which you get on some of the other barrels. Now, for the second barrel, I do recommend the effective damage range and fire rate barrel, only because I do prefer to move around the map a lot. I get into a lot of mid-range engagements, so I got to make sure I win them. The effective damage range that it offers definitely helps with that. And then it also has an extra fire rate perk. It's not much, but it definitely helps, and I can definitely tell a difference. So moving off the barrels, there is 2 attachments that you absolutely should use. The first being the 12-round tube. This thing does reload a little bit slower than the Hauer, so I definitely recommend having the 12-round tube, as you're probably going to have to hit a corner and actually reload this guy. Now the second attachment, as I mentioned on the Hauer as well, is the no stock attachment. It does add extra mobility and sprint to fire time, which is super useful, especially with a semi-automatic gun where you're possibly going to have to hit 2, 3, and maybe even sometimes 4 shots. Now this thing is absolutely a beast and it's super easy to use. I do think that it does take a tad bit more skill to use the Hauer over the Spaz, so it is super player friendly. And also its shot is so wide that even if you're off your shot a little bit, chances are you're still going to hit. And then it's also got the Hauer beat in fighting multiple enemies. I mean, it holds more ammo, it shoots faster, and it relatively has the same range as the Hauer. So if I was going to sum up the Gallo SA-12, I'd say it's a super user-friendly and versatile shotgun. I feel like it does excel over the Hauer in a bunch of different ways. It is a more relaxed shotgun. You do have the chance to miss more shots, whereas the Hauer, I feel like you really have to make your shots count. So to answer the question of this video, what is the most overpowered shotgun in Black Ops Cold War? I do think by leaps and bounds that it is the Gallo SA-12, only because it is so versatile and easy to use for the community. But that's it for this video, guys. If you enjoyed it, be sure to give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. And until next time, guys, I'll see you in the next video.